All right, hello everyone. It's Roden again, and today we are doing a sort of like a pilot episode, episode number one, sort of type of deal for basically what I want to call auction house snapshots for Albion Online. Basically, the intent is to provide you guys some real-time market information in really small chunks, but I definitely intend to do this pretty frequently, pretty much in the same format as market type of podcasts and shows from things like EP1 Online, to be honest. This is the only other game that I know of that actually has like market related podcasts. So all right, so why are we doing this? We are doing this because Albion right now in its current iteration doesn't have much in the way of market history. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It's a very bare bones type of market interface, which is fine considering the type of game that it is. You know, it's multi-platform. It's supposed to be pretty accessible to a lot of different players, through a lot of different platforms, like I said. So yeah, it's supposed to become pretty simple, right? The interface at least is supposed to be pretty simple. But based on kind of how the resource dynamics work, it can get pretty complicated. There's genuine market forces that can be in play when it comes to the overall state of the in-game economy. So for today, what we're going to do actually is focus on processed raw materials, tier 3 and tier 4. So like I said in the beginning, we're going to do it in very, very small chunks, but frequent chunks. So that's what we're going to work on today. How are we going to display that to you guys? Since I just mentioned that the game doesn't have any in-game history, right? How we're going to do that is basically, as you can see right here, we have we've fixed up our overlay to include a snapshot of the spreadsheet that I use in order to figure out whether something would be profitable to process, and if it's not, what do we do with that? Okay, so this is going to work basically as our market history for now. All right. So one of the things that you have to be wary of when we're doing these types of discussions, very, very specifically, it is a literal snapshot in time. All right. So if you're watching this video like 1 week later, these prices more than likely are going to be the same. All right. It's just a guide. So what I'd like for you guys to think about when you're watching this, you know, in recorded form would be taking note of the prices and see how the actual relationships are between, say, the raw item versus the processed item, and how tight the profit margins can be, which we'll see here in a minute. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. So first we're going to start off with our fibers. Actually, one other thing, we are not including tier 2s specifically because the conversion rate to make the tier 2 processed items is just a 1-to-1 conversion. Take tier 2 raw item, and then you put it through the appropriate structure, and it shoots out tier 2 processed. So there's not much math to it. It's 1-to-1. Okay? That's why we're going to start with tier 3. So we're going to start off with our neat cloth. All right, so that's the tier 3 processed fiber. Okay. A quick overview of what we have in our sheet here. So we got the name of the final product right here, components, multiplier is just how many is needed to make 1 unit of the resulting product. Okay. Material price, how much each input is, subtotal for each one, and then is added into the total, which is marked as a green cell. Okay, so we'll go and get started. And you're gonna see some pretty interesting relationships as far as the prices go. So I kind of started this a little bit already, but I didn't get that far, so yeah. All right, so when we're looking at this, so we're gonna be looking at this from the perspective of buy orders. Okay, why are we doing buy orders? Because we're trying to see if we are utilizing the market appropriately. We want to get things cheaply, right? So we're going to use buy orders versus just buying versus capturing it directly from sell orders. So in order to get buy orders, go to the orders tab, show buy orders, and just type. It'll be easiest to just type in the item. All right, so we found our flax. It's tier three item. All right, for the purpose of inputting into the sheet, we're going to enter it as if we were trying to place a competitive order. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Right here, you guys see that the most competitive tier 3 flax order is 44 silver. Well, we're going to enter it into the sheet as if we ourselves are going to place a buy order to outbid this 44 silver bid. All right, so we're going to put 45. All right, now simple cloth. Simple cloth is derived from processing cotton. So we're going to put simple cloth at 10 silver for competitive pricing. All right, so that makes a build cost of 100 silver based on buy orders for neat cloth. So let's see how much it would be to actually sell neat cloth if we were to have made it. I'm going to go to buy orders, or the buy tab rather. We're going to put in neat cloth, see how much people are selling it for. The most competitive order for neat cloth is 98 silver. 2 silver per unit less than what it would cost us if we were to place competitive buy orders right now. That's pretty messed up, right? So if I was in absolute need of neat cloth right this very moment, I would actually just capture this whole order of 573 units of neat cloth at 98 silver per unit. I would buy it right now if I actually needed this, because it's below material cost. All right, but we don't need it right now. We're just we're figuring out what's happening in the market right now. All right, so that's where that's at right now. One thing you could probably do too, since you know now how much the build cost is for neat cloth. I've actually done this a couple of times. It's amazing how people miss this. I would buy this right now and just relist it for 100. Relist it for 100, because then now you're earning 2 silver per unit profit before taxes. Could be something, right? I would do that. I would do that. All right, so that's neat cloth. Let me go ahead and go for the tier 4 version now, which is fine cloth. Right, so we've identified that neat cloth can be made for 100. So when we're going through these, we're running on the assumption that we're building everything from the lowest tier to the highest tier. All right, so any kind of calculations we make for requisite materials, we're going to continue on using that same number as if we're building everything ourselves. So neat cloth, we can build it for 100, as we've already noted. So I'm going to place 100 here. Now let's see how much hemp is on buy orders. There's lots of variants of hemp. So it's the tier 4, plain tier 4 variant. we would price it at 30 to be competitive. Alright, so based on our calculations, the build cost for fine cloth, if you were to make everything, to include the prerequisite completed item, would be 160 units of silver. Let's see how much it sells for. It sells for 145. Wow. So all of these are all these orders, there's a lot of them too, wow, what are basically under material cost. Almost half of the entries right now are under material cost. That's crazy. Now I wonder if that's, well, no, it wouldn't be, yeah. So yeah, so there's that. If you need fine cloth for any of your builds, you might as well just go ahead and buy it right now, because it's selling for under material cost. They're giving it away, basically. That's fine. I have a feeling that this is a pattern that we're gonna see. This very seemingly saturated numbers. All right, next one we're gonna go is for thick leather. Thin hide, I'm gonna use 47. Stiff leather. $29 silver. All right, so material cost of 123 silver. See how much it sells for. At 130. Okay, so there's actually a profit in actually creating the thick leather. It's weird that fiber didn't. That's pretty weird. I wonder what's going on with fiber. All right, so if there's profit to be made in processing into thick leather. Now let's move on to a tier 4 variant, worked leather. Let's see, cost of medium high. Wow, no buy order for it, seemingly. Yeah, no buy order for medium hide. Okay, let's see how much it's what the sell order for it is. 42. Okay, CC 42. So in all of Caerleon, there's no medium hide. There's no buy orders rather for medium hide. Wow. Okay, that's kind of strange. All right, so with that being said, we have the build cost of work leather being 207 units of silver. And it can be sold right now. You can price worked leather competitively as 223 silver, which is a profit based on its material cost. Great. All right, next thing we're going to look at is the ores. I'm going to start with the bronze bar. I'll probably mess around and actually create a buy order for the medium high now that there aren't any. Or someone just dumped a whole bunch of them and cleared all the orders. Right, tin ore will price at 39. And copper bar. I'll put 10. I think that that feeds right into sell orders. Yep, sure does. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. All right, so 88 silver for the material cost of 1 bronze bar. $95 silver on sell orders. That's a lot. Actually, that's quite a bit of profit. I was not expecting that. Actually, I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be really, really close. Oh well, that's good, man. There's profit to be made for bronze bars. That's a first. That's definitely a first. Okay, next one we're gonna look at is steel bar. So bronze bar, we know we can make it for 88. Just need to see iron ore. So it can be priced at 24. All right, so the material cost for steel bar is 136 units of silver. Let's see how much it actually is in the market. $115 silver is the most competitive sell order for this. Wow. All of this is under material cost. All of this, as of right now, all of this is under material cost. Almost half of the current orders are under material cost. Man, if I had the money, if you had the money, you could probably just just relist these. If you feel like you can, stomach the risk, I'd probably just relist these. That's really interesting. So I'm curious as to what's actually causing that. I mean, I know a lot of people basically make that trade-off between profit versus the ability to progress in the Destiny board, so there is always that. But to see it at tier 4, that's pretty crazy. Part of me believes that it's probably just a race to the bottom. Like anything market related, it's a race to the bottom. It's a race to be competitive, but they're so focused on being competitive that they actually end up losing profit, or at least losing on opportunity cost. All right, next we're gonna look at rocks. Rocks are very high volume, man. Very high volume items, especially because you need them for construction. Yeah, in your personal island and guild islands. All right. Okay, sandstone, not the block, but the rock. 34. So we'll price this at 35. Limestone block. Price is at 27. Alright, so it costs 97 silver to create 1 sandstone block. Oh, 89. Wow. They're just giving it away. Giving it away. Giving it away. All of these practically gifts. Ah, we're getting this deep into the list too before we even break even. We list all these things, Jesus. Finally, break even point. like, ooh, like 80% of the listing is under material cost. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Oh well. I wish I had the liquid, man. I don't have much. Um, I haven't had a chance to play a lot this week. What money I was making, I've been putting it right back into my personal island. You know, buying the materials and stuff. I think I have everything to tier 4 now. So yeah, that's one thing I definitely want to show in a later show. All right, so sandstone block, buy everything. Everything is practically free, practically. All right, we're gonna go next into the tier 4 variant, the travertine block. So noted 97 silver for the sandstone block. We just gotta find out the travertine rock. So we'll price this at 31. So 159 silver to create one travertine block. $114. Wow. This entire list is under material cost. That makes sense, though. That makes sense. I mean, as folks are progressing, you know, they're improving their islands and stuff like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, these points where they're so saturated that they're under material cost, they can't last forever. Eventually, people will just simply not need them anymore, regardless of how cheap they actually get. You know, they'll take advantage of these times where there's a disconnect between the supply demand and how you actually acquire them. So that whole dynamic's out of whack. And if you're just using simple tools like the spreadsheet, you can really identify really good buy opportunities. Not necessarily sell opportunities, but buy opportunities. All right. The entirety of the Caerleon market's travertine block is basically under material cost. Good to go. And finally, we're going to be looking at the wood. All right, let's see how much chestnut logs cost. All right, we'll price this as 50. Then birch planks. Let's price this as 16. So 116 units of silver to create one chestnut plank. There's actually a profit on chestnut planks. Look at that. So between 116 buy or material cost, you can sell it for 122 silver competitively. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. And finally, the last thing we're going to look at today is pine planks. Not a whole lot of pine logs. All right, so we'll price the pine logs at 26. So 168 units of silver to create one pine plank. Let's see how much they sell for. $150. Ugh, one of those again. Man, market's super saturated right now. Not a whole. It's the saturation isn't that deep into the listings, so that's actually not bad. You don't break even until about, so say maybe 10-20% of, yeah, about 20% or so of the listings right now currently for pine planks are under material cost. Realist. That sounds like a relisting solution, to be honest. All right, great, awesome. So we definitely identified a lot of opportunities to just straight up just grab it from the market, either for you to use by straight up crafting with it, or utilizing it for further processing, you know, into tier 5 and above, or you know, whatever you want to do with it. There's also relisting opportunities here. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this dynamic actually exists in. I would say Fort Sterling is probably the second largest market hub. I'm curious to see how the prices are in Fort Sterling, and if they are able to be, if the market orders can be resolved relatively quickly, like within a day or two. It might be worthwhile to actually exploit smaller hubs if you're already seeing this type of saturation in Caerleon. All right, cool. All right, well, that's our very first episode 1 of Albion Online Auction House Snapshot. So we talked about tier 3, tier 4. There's a ton of discrepancies, The next time we do this, I think we'll look at the higher class tier 4 variants. Not, I don't think rocks have those. And what I mean by that? Things like uncommon, rare, exceptional, and you know those named items. All right. Yeah, that's really all I got, guys. Short and sweet, relatively speaking, for the types of shows that we do. And tune again. We're gonna try to do this at least twice a week, just to kind of have a little bit of consistency with the items, and hopefully this will be the beginnings of identifying trends. Because right now you just can't see this in game, man. You just can't. Not as far as history goes. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. And again, this was episode 1 of Albion Online Auction House Snapshot. And we will produce another one of these in the next 3 days or so. I'm going to be covering other tier 4 processed item variants. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you then.